Okay. My name is James Greensweight, and I'm a high school teacher in Arizona, an ex-soldier with the 82nd Airborne. I like to write, play music, play video games once in a while. I'm a member of a group called the SCA, which is a medieval reenactment group. I've been an atheist all my life, I suppose. I just didn't know the term for it for most of that time. I'd been taken to Sunday school when I was younger once in a while, but it was all just stories to me. I have a fascination with world cultures, which led to my being a history teacher, I suppose. And I find in all religions there's a grounded philosophy involved. And a lot of the philosophies are good, it's just the supernatural aspects can't be proven and can't be verified, and often actually just connect through cultural connections. Used to refer to myself as a polyphilosophical non-theologian. It was my way of saying atheist without people knowing what it meant. Unfortunately, I taught my students too well, and they started putting clues together and figured it out. I didn't have a problem with them figuring it out. I just didn't feel comfortable actually saying it because it's a fairly conservative area where I teach. I became comfortable stating that I'm an atheist off of the Pledge of Allegiance. Not the under God thing. I don't think that belongs in there, but more importantly, I don't think the Pledge of Allegiance should exist. Our country's founded on overthrowing England because at the time it was a tyranny. It's founded on the idea that if things got that bad, we should be able to stand up to our government again, and pledging a blind loyalty to the government just doesn't seem to mesh up with that. Instead, what I would do is recite the soldier's oath, the one that I had to sign when I became a soldier, which was, I swear to defend the Constitution against all threats, both foreign and domestic. And once I started saying that, it dawned on me that I was kind of wussing out on defending my First Amendment rights because I was being so respectful of others. And I decided from that point on, you know what? I'm just going to flat out say I'm an atheist. I don't run around screaming it. I don't introduce class saying, "Hi, I'm Mr. Greensweight. I'm an atheist." But when people ask, I don't shy away from it. And when the subject comes up, I just flat out state it. I've gotten to the point that I am now making YouTube videos on occasion, not a whole lot of time. I'm doing one at the moment that discusses the history of evolution, not the evolution itself, but the concept of it, and all the way back to the ancient Greeks. I plan on doing more ones that involve things like comparing biblical accounts to actual history. Sort of like Jefferson did, find out what's actually true in the Bible and what's not, and other religious works. I've seen many attempts to Christianize this nation, and that is not what this country was founded on. If people want to come up and say, "Hey, we're Christian," and start pushing views and pushing issues, then I have an equal right to look back and say, I'm atheist. That's just part of the way things are. If you've got the right to state yours, I've got the right to state mine. Or my lack thereof, I suppose I should say. Basically, it's just the right to say, I understand what you believe, and I don't agree. And that's all atheism really is exercising that right. If you want to check out the YouTube videos I make, it's at whiteowl1415. Religion just doesn't work for me. It doesn't make sense. Story I've got down here at the essay, I'm kind of skimming off of it on the side as I talk. That's why I'm not doing the eye contact thing so much, no offense. I found the other day that I was teaching Buddhism. And we had a Buddhist teacher, but she changed from Buddhism. And as we were discussing the Buddhism, and the students were talking about, this is in China, this is in Japan, and I was like, well, we've had a Buddhist teacher here at our school. And I used to do a scavenger hunt to find out who the Buddhist was, because it was not a stereotypical person. Students look for ethnicity and things like that, and that's just not the way it lined up. So they had to break their mental concept of what a Buddhist would be to find out who this person was. And the students, when I told them this time that the person used to be a Buddhist, they went, well, what is she now? And I said, I just didn't think to ask. It was none of my business. The Buddhism thing just happened to come up when I was teaching it a previous year. And one student said, well, as long as she's not atheist. I kind of tilted my head and looked at him and said, well, why would that matter? He replied, I don't know, I just don't trust those people. I asked him why, and he says, I don't know, I just don't trust them. And then I looked at him and I said, no, we just talked about the idea of stereotyping people. And there might be an atheist in this classroom that you could be offending right now. And it's okay if you don't trust them, but you don't trust them without giving a reason. You could be offending someone right now who's just wondering, what did I do to you? That kind of thing. And that student started looking around, trying to figure out who the atheist in the classroom was. And started guessing, and a couple other students started trying to guess, and people were going, no, not me. And it wasn't like a witch hunt thing, but it was just kind of a, who could it be? And I finally just looked at him and said, it's me. The students laughed and thought I was joking with them. And it took a few times before I finally got them to understand, and I do joke around a lot, that I was serious. And said, no, I'm an atheist. I don't believe. That's just the way I am. And I got some strange looks from the students, and they walked out of the classroom at the end of the class. And since then, it hasn't affected anything. Everything's just business as normal and back to work. It seems that once they realized that I wasn't the immoral reprobate that people keep making atheists out to be, that it was no longer a big deal with them. And I hope they can carry that on into the future, and even if they keep their religious beliefs, that's their business. And if they don't, that's their business. But just so that they can hopefully go forward and realize it's not a problem. It's just who people are. And if you're watching this video and you're not an out atheist, it's not a problem. It's just who you are. And nobody's got a right to judge that. They've got a right to complain about it. They got a right to whine and throw a fit. But they do not have a right to judge. That's about it. Take care and good luck.